Two questions we here at Little Fish get asked on a daily basis are around cost and time. So in this video, I'm going to share everything cost and time related for a 3 townhouse site we completed for a client at the end of 2019. I'll break down every facet of the project, so by the end you'll have some clarity around what costs are involved and the subsequent timing. I'll also share the result as far as net profit and the client's return on investment. Let's get into it. Hey guys, Peter Kelly here from Little Fish Property Developments, helping you maximise the value of your land and generate wealth through low-risk residential development projects, much like the project we're about to dissect. Let's break down 11 Milford Street, Newport. The property was purchased by our client in September of 2017. It was a cracking corner site and a great location, and it was purchased with the aim to knock down the existing dilapidated property to build 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, single lock-up garage dwellings. The aim was to sell all 3 new properties off the plan. The overall objective of the project was for us to maximise our clients' returns. Spoiler alert, we knocked it out of the park, even given the unfavourable market conditions experienced throughout the duration of the project. Let's look at the project's particulars. It was a 3 townhouse corner site with south-facing private open space. It was approximately 690 square metres of land with a 22-metre frontage and 34 metres in depth. It's important to note that the site had a favourable setback on the front north boundary. Given this, and the side boundary had a 3-metre setback requirement, it put the project in good space to achieve 3 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom dwellings, each with about 20 squares of living. The client was only expecting 3 bedrooms, which was a great result for the bottom line, which you will see later when we break down the numbers. Before we get into the numbers, let's take a look at the project's timeline. While you consume the timeline on the screen, I want to give the project a little bit of perspective. Milford Street falls within the municipality of Hobsons Bay, which is notorious for being slow with their planning approvals. This proved to be true on this project, costing at least a couple of months more than we would have typically expected. The key as a property developer is to make sure that everything that's in your control is done timely and efficiently. This will minimise the impact of a slow council. If you're slow and inefficient and then council drags their feet, this will end up in a timing blowout, which will ultimately affect your bottom line, which can be significant. As with all the projects that we get our hands on here at Little Fish, all subdivision requirements were met timely and the new titles were registered prior to the construction completion. This allowed our clients to settle with their off-the-plan buyers 14 days after the builder's practical completion, again helping soften the blow of those additional months council took with their planning approval. Now you have some perspective around the timing. Let's get into the numbers. Let's start with the costs. For the purpose of this case study, I've broken the cost down into 7 categories: the purchase, early development, middle development, construction, marketing, bank holding, and completion. First up are the purchase costs. These include everything directly related to the purchase of the property, including the contract price, stamp duty, and relevant adjustments, including conveyancing. Next up are the early development costs. These were the costs incurred from the purchase of the property right through until planning approval. So essentially in this case, all of the costs for the first 10 months. These costs included the land surveying, so the re-establishment surveys and the features and level surveys, an arborist report for some council trees, the drafting and planning costs, and the deposit for our project management services. Next were the middle development costs. These are all the costs incurred from the planning permit approval right up until construction. They include the demolition, tree removal, as there were some council trees that needed to be removed due to the new crossover locations, the construction documentation, the interior design package, and the plan of subdivision application. It also includes 2 power pits due to it being a 3 site and having no common property. All of the service connections such as NBN, telecommunications, and the water. Our stage 2 PM invoice for achieving town planning approval was also paid at this point. Then it was the construction costs. All of our construction contracts are fixed price and a full turnkey. So it included everything you can think of, from the landscaping, letterboxes, clotheslines, and everything in between. It also included some additional funds for earthworks after we hit some rock. This was expected and contingency allowed given the site's location. Costs for additional concrete and machinery were incurred. Our stage 3 PM invoice for the construction commencement was also paid at this point, after we had run the full build tender process, engaged the builder, and they had started on site. Next up were the marketing costs. These were some minor costs for the marketing assets to support the sales campaign. It included some 3D renders, the hoarding, the marketing banner, the custom brochure design, and the printing. Next were the bank interest, or the holding costs. As with most projects we managed, the bank interest was capitalised, essentially meaning that the interest was accrued over the duration of the project and paid from the proceeds of the sales when they were settled at the end, so when the loan was closed out. Finally, we had some completion costs, which included the sales agent's commissions and portal listings, which were also paid at settlement of the 3 sales. There was an open space contribution payment to the council, as this was a 3 site, and there were some minor settlement costs, and lastly, our final PM invoice was also paid upon the project's completion. As shown on the timeline earlier in the video, all 3 properties were sold off the plan, and the new titles were registered timely. So the properties were able to be settled within 14 days after the builder issued certificate of occupancy and us having the new titles. If your objective is to maximise your project's returns, then this is exactly how you want the end of your project to go. The key is to settle with your buyers as soon as possible so you can get your money sooner, pay down your debt, and roll into your next project. This case study is a great example of the solid returns you can make developing residential property in Melbourne. If you look at the timing of the purchase and sales, the Melbourne property market did this project no favours. It was only on the back of some solid systems, processes, and old-fashioned hard work that it was still a success. The buyers were happy, our clients were flush, and we were pumped that we'd knocked it out of the park for them. The key to becoming a successful developer is all about patience and discipline. Your goal isn't to retire on your first development. You want to get in the game at a level that you aren't overexposed financially, so you can begin to grow your capital with as minimal risk as possible. It's no secret that money makes money, so get on the developing merry-go-round and start growing your capital one project at a time. I'm Peter Kelly. Until next time, happy developing.